NatWest are very excited that the industry is coming together around premium APIs and commercial APIs. I guess we've been working with FinTechs and with the regulator a little unilaterally over the last 12, 24 months. And we see adoption really more likely to grow if the industry works together to develop common standards, to develop common customer journeys, common experiences for customers that really puts customers at ease in using open banking. So we're really excited about the potential of the industry working together. I think NatWest has made a good start. We've got a number of premium APIs out there, and we see a lot of excitement around those APIs. And yeah, we'd love to share that experience with our peers, with regulators, with FinTechs, and hope to continue to drive adoption by working together. Oh, wow. So we've learned a bunch. So I think what FinTechs are after, what customers are after, what banked clients, big corporates are after in terms of the data, the customer journey, the experience, the conversion rates. We're starting to learn an awful lot about what works and what doesn't work. So the APIs we launched, the premium APIs that we launched 12, 18 months ago, they're already starting to look quite different to the launch APIs because we're continuing to improve them based on that client feedback. The biggest learning though is from clients is that if NatWest is the only bank offering these APIs, obviously it's a real barrier to adoption. The end user of the API, the merchant or the corporate client, really has to have parallel journeys running, one for NatWest Bank customers and one for customers who bank with everybody else. So that's the really big learning, is that until we get a broader adoption around the industry, we're always going to struggle to move the needle on adoption. I guess regulation incentives are maybe put in different directions, right? I think one thing we've learned from open banking is that having a mandate and equal standards or common standards across all banks has been good for adoption. So customers are seeing the same thing no matter who they use, and they're getting comfortable with that. And FinTechs can build one model, one platform, because they know each of the banks are going to give them the exact same thing. So that really helps adoption. But what it hasn't helped is the incentive for banks to go above and beyond. So to things like improve those journeys, improve the conversion rates, make more data available. Because there was no incentives for banks built in to open banking, then we haven't seen, I guess, the growth and improvement of those APIs and those customer journeys. So what we're missing is exactly that, is that incentives for banks to want to go above and beyond and continue to deliver more. So I would definitely like to see, NatWest would definitely like to see an ecosystem emerging that rewards banks for innovating, rewards banks for delivering more, whether that's through regulation or some other method. Having those incentives there for banks to go above and beyond and do more is really important. I think I would prefer to see the banks and the industry, so FinTechs, new entrants, existing players, and regulators work together on developing common standards without a mandate. I think there's enough willingness amongst all parties to move forward without a mandate. I think having the mandate takes time, but it also sort of puts boundaries on what you can do. You can't go back and change that mandate very easily, and everyone starts trying to understand the mandate and deliver just against that mandate, and other good ideas get lost or thrown out because they're not part of the mandate. I think a much more pragmatic approach would be, let's pool all the good ideas from banks, from regulators, from new startups and existing players in this industry, and try and work together to develop standards without a mandate. I think let's try and do that first, and if we don't get anywhere with that, then we can maybe look to a new mandate to push things along. I mean, absolutely. I think NatWest is already there. We're already in the market with premium APIs. We've signed a number of partnerships with AISPs and PISPs some of them tiny, some of them huge, to bring those APIs to their customers. So I think that market is already emerging. We'd love to see continued adoption from other banks and other ASPs and PISPs and FinTechs jumping into that market. I think the challenge that banks have is that it's very small, right? So you compare the revenues or the potential to build a business around APIs compared to their existing business models in mortgages and savings, etc. Then it's always going to be small. So you're going to need to have an innovative mindset to get this market growing. And I think that's where we need that maybe a little push, either from better incentives or a little push from the regulator, just to encourage the banks to be innovative and take a few risks in this space. So non-sweeping VRPs, it's very early days. What we did originally was take the sweeping VRP journey and customer experience and just make that available for non-sweeping use cases. What we quickly found is that customer experience isn't really fit for purpose for an e-commerce journey. We need to see much fewer clicks, much more customer-friendly language around what's happening to the customer, what the customer's agreeing to. Because at the end of the day, a non-sweeping VRP is a very, very safe way of paying for something. Could be a very quick way of paying for something, and that really wasn't coming across in the sort of the sweeping VRP journey that we'd originally built as per the mandate. So we're investing in improving that journey based on the feedback we're getting from the merchants we're working with to really take out clicks, make it feel more intuitive, really drive home the security aspects of it to customers. This is going to be a journey of deploy, see what customers think, get the feedback, see what the conversion looks like, see where the dropouts are occurring, and then improve. It's going to be a continual journey of deploy and improve, I think, over the next 12, 24 months until we end up with a product and an experience for customers which is really competitive versus existing payment methods. I think I'm right in saying that NatWest has been fairly unique in the UK banking industry, that we're treating APIs as a franchise. So most banks in the UK will have their retail franchises, their business banking, their corporate franchises. And each of those franchises will have things they do with APIs. What we're saying is that APIs themselves can be a franchise. So we're looking at individuals all the way through to large corporates, what services they would like us to deliver to them via APIs, having a single API backlog, development backlog, single API onboarding experiences for merchants, for corporates. By treating APIs as a franchise themselves, you create a really slick experience for anyone who wants to use them. They can come in and choose one API, they can come in and choose 20 APIs. It's no harder because everything's built in the same way, and you're really designing an experience around those APIs and around that API franchise. The first thing to say is, we really enjoy working with the new third parties that have emerged since open banking's launch, the ASPs and the PISPs. We don't treat them as a threat or as a competitor. We welcome. At the end of the day, they're talking to our customers, whether they be business banked or commercial banked or retail banked. They're talking to our customers and delivering services to our customers. So we love to get the feedback from them. We love to understand what they're doing for our customers. And if they've got ideas of how we can improve the experience for our customers, then we'd love to hear from them. And if we can help improve that experience, and there's a benefit for the bank, benefit for the customer, and benefit for the TPP, then we'll look to develop that. So we've actually enacted a number of improvements to our APIs based on the feedback we've got from TPPs. We're open to working with all TPPs. We haven't signed exclusive deals with anybody. So of all of the ASPs and PISPs out there, we're working with them and signing contracts with all of them, but not to exclude others. there are clearly large tech companies out there, large merchants out there who we know are looking at VRP, they're looking at bank-led identity to improve their journeys. I absolutely predict one or more of those large organizations deploying an open banking type solution over the next 12 months, probably sooner. And if they do it well, which they probably will do, then we'll see other medium and smaller merchants looking at that going, yeah, we should do that too. We're going to get left behind if we don't do that too. So yes, I think what open banking needs and what open banking will get is one or more large merchants, large tech companies deploying open banking over the next 12 months, and it'll be a real boost to adoption. I think the first learning is that banks and FinTechs and TPPs can work together to innovate in the absence of regulation. So we are deploying new APIs and improving existing APIs and improving journeys, consent journeys and the like, purely based on the feedback from TPPs, and also because we're incentivized to do so, because there's either our customers are benefiting, which we like, or the TPPs are otherwise rewarding us for doing that work. So I think, yeah, the big learning is this model of banks working with TPPs to deploy bigger and better APIs can work if the bank are incentivized. What I'd like to see from the regulator is the facilitation, so bringing the banks and the industry together to develop common approaches to the design of APIs, the data that's in these APIs, the journeys in these for customers through these APIs. But we've seen through open banking, if you have common standards, it's just so much easier for everyone to adopt and deploy the APIs. I think what I wouldn't like to see is too much prescription about how we price those APIs, exactly what should and shouldn't be in them, exactly what the journey must look like. There needs to be flexibility for innovation. So if a bank has an idea tomorrow or in 6 months' time or in 18 months' time, we don't want to have to go back to the regulator and ask permission. We don't want to have to go back to a mandate and say, can we do that? If it's a good idea, if we think it's a good idea, we should just be allowed to deploy it and see what happens. And we innovate by getting real customer feedback. Similar with the pricing, I think the bank has to be have some flexibility for how to price these services so that they don't just cover our costs, but they compete favorably with other things we can be investing in as a bank. They have to deliver returns compared to other things that we can be doing for customers, and we have to have that flexibility to price appropriately. Any attempt to restrict the pricing really risks ripping away that incentive for the bank to innovate and to go above and beyond, like I was talking about earlier.